What's up and welcome to Madden 22. Also, welcome to the face cam once again. I decided to bring it back. I'm not sure how long it's going to stay for, but you know, it's here for the time being. But today's video is going to be the start of my Madden 22 Philadelphia Eagles rebuild. This isn't going to be like a stereotypical rebuild. It's not just going to be one video. I'm gonna use this as my series until the scouting update drops at some point in September. I don't know exactly when it's gonna happen just yet, but when that happens, I will then begin my regular Madden 22 franchise where I play every game. It's gonna be like my typical franchise, like my Giants and my Bengals franchises from years before. But this is going to be a rebuild and like gameplay kind of hybrid franchise here. We're gonna make some trades, we're gonna do some simulating in this entire thing. I'm also gonna play some games. I'm thinking about at least playing the divisional rival games and then maybe play a couple others each season. I don't know how that's gonna go just yet, but I'm choosing the Eagles because they are my favorite football team. I'm currently wearing an Eagles jersey. You can kind of see the logo. Oh, hold on, I'm backwards. Right over here. It's a Fletcher Cox jersey. I might switch it out for my Brian Dawkins one. I'll probably keep a jersey on for every one of these videos. But let's go ahead and start making this this coach. So obviously, Nick Sirianni, he's gonna be gone. We're gonna use a custom coach, and good old Antho Schrambush is coming back. So this is different. You can choose a team builder, or you can choose a staff builder. Let's go team builder. That's what I like more anyway. Antho Schrambush making a return. Here's a quick look at the settings tab. I'm not sure how much of these I'm actually going to change because I'm sure I'm gonna have to make a new franchise once the full game drops. I'm not sure if I'll keep the pre-order bonus on or not because of course I pre-ordered the game. So I think I get like 100 staff points or something like that. I might keep it on. I don't know just yet. But salary cap is certainly going to be on. Relocation settings, I mean, that's fine. Injury is going to be on. Actually, I'll probably turn it off just because this is kind of a rebuild sort of thing. Pre-existing injury, we're going to keep off as well. Player overall cut restrictions. This is different. Prevents user teams from cutting players with overall ratings at or above this number. Oh, okay. I don't need that since this is a solo league, but that's an interesting little thing they added. Minimum roster size, I'm going to turn off for sure. I like having that off just so I can trade as many players as I want at the beginning of the season. Oh, this is interesting. You can actually change how many trades can happen or just player movement in general. That's pretty cool. There's a cut limit as well. I'm just going to keep this both unlimited for sure. I'm going to keep on development trait regression. This was really buggy last year. I'm hoping they fixed it. And we're going to see how that goes. Maybe after a couple of seasons, we eventually turn it off. But I'll probably just make the quarter length like 13. That's usually what I chill with. Also, progressing players is going to be auto, and then tutorial pop-ups are going to be off. That seems good to me. Most of these are the same as previous Maddens. But let's go ahead and actually start this franchise. I have 60 staff points. Oh, I guess I got 60, not 100. Whatever, it's fine. I'm hoping I can actually access this franchise again once the game comes out, because I'm not sure if those staff points are going to go away if I make a new franchise. Or unless you just get them for every franchise you make. I don't exactly know just yet. But let's go over the roster. So the Eagles roster, apparently it's an 82 overall. I don't really get how. Honestly, their team's really not all that good. I'm assuming the offense is kind of carried a little bit by these three offensive linemen because they are by far the best players on this side of the football. But let's start off with the quarterback. We have good old Jalen Hurts. 1 year of experience at this point, of course, was a rookie last year. We're going to see how he develops in this series. I want to get some gameplay with Jalen Hurts. I want to see how well he is in simulation. See how well he can progress. Maybe eventually he can go up in development trait along the way. We have Miles Sanders. I would really like to progress him as well. Now, in previous Maddens, he really didn't upgrade that well. He was usually really bad throughout simulation, but I'm hoping that changes here. It would be really cool if they changed their logic with simulation, because at least from my experience, when you had a running back who was like an 83 or below, they like hardly ever played well. It was so difficult to develop like a rookie running back or just a young running back who was like an 80 overall. It was so hard for me to do that. But at receiver number 1, we have Devontae Smith. He's the player I'm most excited about in this entire series. 91 speed, 93 acceleration, 85 catching. Really good route running here for a rookie. 86 spectacular catch, 88 jumping, 91 agility. Devontae Smith, their first selection in this last draft, is phenomenal. He has hidden development trait. I would not be surprised if this is Superstar. I doubt it's X Factor, but if it's Superstar, I would not be surprised. There's a new health tab here, which is actually pretty cool. We'll have to see how that plays out, you know, when we actually get into some games and whatnot. At the receiver number 2 position, they have the GOAT, Travis Fulgham, of course. 87 speed, 89 acceleration. He's not bad. 73 isn't horrible, like, depth, but considering the Eagles receivers suck, he is the number 2. Greg Ward there at the number 3. Jalen Reagor, I want to get him playing a lot more as well. Of course, was a rookie last year too. We got to see how he develops. Hopefully he can go off alongside Devontae Smith. He's really fast with 93 speed. If anything, he's at least a pretty decent like kick and punt returner, but we're going to have him play the number 2 for sure. He might even be the slot. I'm not sure just yet. We could also just make Devontae Smith the slot. He's really good in that regard. And then the offensive line, we kind of briefly touched on this, but Jason Kelce, Brandon Brooks, Lane Johnson, all really good at their respective positions, but also they're all fairly old. Jason Kelce's 33, Brandon Brooks is 32, and then Lane Johnson's like 30. He's 31 actually. So we're gonna have to be looking to replace these guys soon. Hopefully they don't regress horribly. So in the first draft of this series, we might have to look to get a couple offensive linemen just to see how they can develop underneath these guys. Because I'm sure we're not going to have to get rid of them this offseason. It'll probably be like 2 or 3 years down the line if they even regress badly at all. Or honestly, they might just retire first. We'll kind of have to see what happens. But we do have Landon Dickerson, who has hidden development trait, which is actually phenomenal. We're probably going to start him at left guard this season for sure over Isaac Seumalo, because Landon Dickerson, way more potential. He's a rookie out of Alabama, of course. I believe their 2nd round selection. He can definitely progress into one of probably one of the better O-linemen in this game in a couple of years. I'm sure he'll be into the upper 80s at some point, as long as he plays well, but of course we're gonna have to see how that goes. Jordan Mailata is currently the starting left tackle, and I might honestly just keep him there. We have Andre Dillard, but Andre Dillard's actually older, which is interesting. So I don't really think there's a reason to start Dillard. Jordan Mailata might just be the option there at left tackle. He's massive. Hopefully he can develop a little bit. And then this offensive line really isn't that bad. Now, of course, in real life, the Eagles' offensive lines have been horrible because they keep dealing with a ton of injuries. And hopefully that doesn't happen in real life here. That would suck a lot. I'm not really expecting a lot from the Eagles this year in real life, but I just, hope the offensive line can stay healthy. Because then we can, really truly see what Jalen Hurts is capable of behind a solid offensive line with all of his weapons and stuff like that. But yeah, the offensive line should be good for a couple seasons, most likely. We might have to replace Mailata at some point, and then of course we're gonna have to look to replace these veterans in the near future, but definitely I'm gonna look to target offensive linemen in this upcoming draft. Dallas Goedert is the starting tight end, the best overall pass catcher on this team at the moment. 84 overall, 83 speed, 86 catching. Dallas Goedert is a really good tight end. He's 26 though, which does kind of suck. I'm hoping he doesn't regress too poorly in the next couple seasons. That's kind of weird to say because he is only 26. Like in real life, he's still very young, but in Madden, typically, when you get to like 28 years old, your career is kind of over. So we're going to see how well he can upgrade before he starts regressing. And then hopping over to the defensive side. Now we have Fletcher Cox, right? Fletcher Cox is one of the best defensive tackles, one of the best defensive players in this entire game, right? He's really good. 95 strength, 95 awareness, 95 power moves. Fantastic. But once again, he is 30. Pretty much every single like superstar on this team is very old. So this is going to be an interesting development to look out for over the course of these next few seasons. We're going to have to replace Fletcher Cox in the near future. I doubt I'm ever going to trade him or anything like that. We'll probably just let him retire as an Eagle. Hopefully he doesn't regress too badly. I'm sure he's going to be close to 190 the rest of his career, so we honestly should be good in that regard. Let's continue on the defensive line then. Derek Barnett, normal development trait. Pretty sure he usually has star, but they took that away from him this year. And he's 25, so he's a player we might look to replace, or maybe even trade. I don't know if I will trade him. Actually, I think I am going to trade him because Josh Sweat has star, and he's a year younger. Yeah, I think we're certainly going to trade Derek Barnett then. If he was like 23 still, then maybe we'd keep him. But being 25, there's not much more room for him to grow. And Josh Sweat is already better. So I'm fine with Josh Sweat starting at right end. And then we have Brandon Graham at left end. Brandon Graham is an interesting player. I think I'll probably keep him for the first season, but he's a player we're probably going to get rid of after this year. Just because he's only an 85, which isn't bad, I guess, but he's 33. He's going to plummet in overall after this season, most likely. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes into the 70s after this year. So he's definitely a player we're going to have to look to get rid of. Javon Hargrave is the number 2 D tackle. He's a player I might also trade. Now, this isn't going to be like a super realistic rebuild of the Eagles. It's going to be rather fantasy style. I'm not going to go crazy with the trades, but I do want to get maybe like a first or maybe 2 firsts for this season here. I'm not sure how many players we're going to trade for. We'll kind of see how that goes. Maybe you guys can suggest some players in the comments you'd like me to try to go after. I don't want to trade for any crazy superstars. Well, first off, I don't even know if that's possible. Second off, I don't want to make this team like too glitchy and too good right away. I want to limit the trades a little bit, but I do want to draft a lot. So I think I'm going to get a couple firsts, but we'll see, how many players we go after. But Javon Hargrave could be a player we definitely go ahead and trade. especially because we have Milton Williams here at defensive tackle, who's a rookie, 70 overall. I'd much rather have him starting, honestly, aside Fletcher Cox. That could be a pretty decent duo, especially if Williams develops. At the cornerbacks, though, we have Darius Slay, Steven Nelson, and Avonte Maddox. Now, Darius Slay, really good cornerback, 88 overall. Number 2 is looking nice on him. I like that. Superstar development, but that doesn't really matter all that much. He's probably going to regress here soon, too, because he is 30 years old. Like I said, all this team's best players are all like 30 years old. So they're not in the best position here for the future, but hopefully we can draft these replacements in this first year, at least a handful of them. But, you know, Darius Slay is still an incredibly good cornerback, 93 speed, 87 man, 91 zone. Really, really solid. Steven Nelson, they just signed this man recently. He's a solid slot cornerback here, but he might play the boundary. I don't know what I'm going to do with him just yet because Avonte Maddox isn't a bad slot either. Steven Nelson's another guy who's kind of old. He's 28. He's going to start regressing soon as well, but an 81 overall is not bad at all for one season at least. I don't think I'll get rid of him. And then Avonte Maddox. He's 25, still has a bit of room to grow. That star development's definitely going to help. He's probably going to be the slot corner here. He has a 77 overall slot. I'm good with him playing there rather than on the boundary. At the safety positions, we have Anthony Harris, 81 overall. He's been really solid for the Vikings these past couple seasons, right? He's been really good. Hopefully he can, you know, take his talents to the Eagles and transition really well over there. Not the fastest, but that's fine. He has pretty good zone coverage, decent acceleration, good awareness. He's not bad at all. Pretty good hit power, you know, for being a free safety and whatnot. He's probably going to be off the team in the near future, but I will keep him for now for sure. Rodney McLeod. I think Rodney McLeod's a player we get rid of. He's fairly replaceable, especially since we have Kayvon Wallace, who is only 24. 1 year of experience, though, being 24 is not fantastic. He's also only a 70, but I think I still will get him starting over Rodney McLeod. Is he a free safety or a strong safety? He actually is a strong, so I'm just going to pop him right in the starting lineup right now, because he's definitely going to start over McLeod. Even if we don't trade McLeod, I'm still going to have Wallace start. Now at linebacker, we have Eric Wilson at middle linebacker number 1. Only 26, he's not too bad. You know, he's definitely the best middle linebacker on this team. The Eagles linebackers have sucked for a pretty decent amount of time. I feel like since like Jordan Hicks was really good, they haven't really had like a, you know, a stud linebacker, but Eric Wilson hopefully can develop here. Of course, linebackers go up in development very frequently, and he still has a bit of room to develop, so maybe he can turn into something here. Alex Singleton, I was gonna say is fairly young, but he's actually 27. He just entered the league rather late, so he's really not gonna turn into much, which does kind of suck. I like me some Alex Singleton. TJ Edwards is fairly young though, 25. Now linebacker is a position I really want to draft. Linebacker might be a position we take in like the first round or something, because developing a linebacker is one of my favorite things to do in this game. We do have Davion Taylor though, who is really young, so we're definitely going to get him playing. 89 speed, 91 acceleration, 84 hit power. Yeah, he's going to start over Jannard Avery for sure. Now Jannard Avery isn't even really a 4-3 outside linebacker. If I played him at all, it would be at defensive end, but I don't even think I'm going to do that. He's not bad. I mean, being a 68, but obviously he doesn't really have much more room to grow. He is already 26. But yeah, that is the Philadelphia Eagles, at least the offense and the defense. I think to kind of finish off this episode, we are going to make a couple trades. I'm not going to do any simulating today. This is just going to be the intro of this series in a way. We're going to make some trades. I think Zach Ertz, I didn't even talk about him, but I think Zach Ertz is going to go for sure. We don't really need him on the team anymore. He is already worse than Dallas Goedert, and he is a good bit older. So we certainly don't need him on the roster anymore. But I want to elaborate a little bit with this series. I already kind of briefly explained it, but I want to explain it a little bit more in depth. So this is going to be my series until the scouting update drops in September, right? So this and just other regular rebuilds are going to, you know, just be on my channel until that update drops. I'm going to try to upload as regularly as possible with this game. I'm actually fairly excited to get started with Madden 22. It seems like they're changing a good bit, at least in the future. They're probably going to release some updates and whatnot, so hopefully it's better content for you guys. It's not as stale for me as well just to play. I don't think it's going to be. I feel like my motivation for this game is going to extend for a long while. It is also fairly hot in my room right now. My air conditioner is not on, because if it's on, it sounds horrible through the microphone, so I apologize if I look disgusting. But I'm hoping I can get through a handful of seasons with this team. It's going to be a combination, like I said before, of simulating and actually playing. Let me know what games you would like me to actually play aside from the divisional games. I'm for sure going to play the divisional games. Let's go through and look at the schedule really quickly before I hop into some trades. But of course, we're going to be playing against, you know, everyone in the division, so the Cowboys, Giants, and football team. But then there's a handful of other games here that could be pretty interesting, like the Chiefs, because they have Patrick Mahomes. That could be fun. The Buccaneers, the Super Bowl champions. I kind of want to try to prioritize some NFC games, just so they impact the playoff picture a little bit more. So like the Buccaneers could be an interesting one. The Saints could be pretty decent. We can see what Jameis looks like. We actually finished off this season with 4 straight divisional games, so that's fun. So yeah, just let me know in the comments if there's any games you'd like me to play in particular. Also, let me know of any players you'd like me to try to go out and trade for. I think we're going to probably make a couple different sections of trades, right? So I'm going to trade right now. And then I think we're also going to try to make some trades probably near the trade deadline and see if we can potentially ship off some players. Like if our team's not playing too well, maybe then we get rid of Brandon Graham, get rid of some of the older, more experienced players on the team, you know, who still hold some kind of trade value. Let's just go ahead and make some trades though. So I have not yet done anything with trading. We probably have to clear up some cap room too. Actually, we have 58.4 million. So sadly, nobody actually wants Rodney McLeod, but I'm gonna see if I could potentially snag a first from some team. I didn't even talk about him, but of course we have our Whiteside. Maybe we try to get him a bit more involved as well. From actually playing these games, I feel like we can do a little bit with our Whiteside. Now this draft pick most likely is going to be really bad, but I really couldn't get anything else to go through. So we're giving the Titans Javon Hargrave, Isaac Seumalo, and Zach Ertz for the 27th overall projected pick. Okay, so we actually have 4 first-round draft picks for this year. I kind of forgot the Eagles traded around a little bit, so, you know, they have some extras here. That should be more than enough first-round draft picks, so I'm perfectly fine to not get any more picks. At least for this year. Maybe we go ahead and get, like, a second next year or something like that, if I can find a team who's kind of interested in someone. Okay, we got this Steelers first-round draft pick next year. I really hope they're just, like, horrible next season. I don't know if they will be. We'll have to see what their quarterback situation is looking like. But Derek Barnett, Rodney McLeod, and Kerryon Johnson are leaving the team. Now, I don't really need Kerryon Johnson. He was the number 2 running back, and I really didn't ever plan on using him that much. I feel like Kerryon Johnson's not a bad player, right? But I really want to get Kenneth Gainwell involved. I almost traded Boston Scott, but the Eagle fan in me didn't want to do that. I love me some Boston Scott. But I do want to get Kenneth Gainwell a bit more involved in this offense. I want him to be the number 2 running back ahead of Boston Scott. I think that could be a fun little development. But I'm pretty sure that's going to do it here for the first episode of my Philadelphia Eagles rebuild. We got rid of some starters, but we got a good bit in return. We have a new first-round draft pick this year and next year. But definitely let me know in the comments if there's any particular player you'd like me to try to go after. I'm not sure I'll be able to get many of them because we don't have too much trade value left on the team, but I'm kind of thinking, right, if the team's not performing well at the midseason, we might get rid of like Brandon Graham then. I think that would be a pretty solid point to get rid of him. Maybe give him to like a contender. Maybe we could ship off some other veteran players like Anthony Harris potentially if the team's not playing well. I'm not sure about anyone on the offense. I don't really want to move anyone on the offensive line. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys are excited for some more Madden 22 content from me coming out in the very near future. I'm going to try to get a bunch of rebuilds out this first weekend. And then when the full game drops, that'll be when I continue with this series once again. I don't want to do too much right now, just in case I can't access this same franchise once the full game comes out. But yeah, one final time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Where every step you take is to